And welcome back to Books and Crannies,
a book lovers podcast.
Da, 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 da.
La, 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 la.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, my name's Danielle.
I am Sarah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what's happening, guys.
You are
Mm-hmm.
the audience.
Yep. And today, well, first off, happy almost New Year.
Yeah.
It's this week, guys.
Yeah. Happy New
What?
Year. Whoop, whoop, whoop,
It's
whoop.
almost January. What the heck is happening?
We were going to decorate, and then we said no thanks.
Yeah, who has time for that? Come
Not
on.
me.
I mean, Halloween and Christmas we did better, but
Come on.
come on. But today, y'all, we decided to pick a book that is loosely New Year's related.
Yeah.
It happens like on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of the premise.
Wow.
And we just, we're trying to keep up with them holidays.
Yeah, you gotta
get a little festive in here.
We have to be themed. Come
Yeah,
on.
why not? We didn't do it the first year of the podcast.
No.
So we certainly, this is the first.
It is.
We didn't do it for the first set of holidays.
Yeah.
So, started on Halloween.
Yeah.
We didn't do Thanksgiving. What's
No,
that
we
about?
didn't. We didn't do Valentine's
Although
Day.
Thanksgiving is kind of a trash holiday anyways.
It is. Yeah.
But we didn't do New Year's last year. We didn't do Valentine's.
Well,
Or
our
any of the
first
other
episode
ones.
didn't come out until January
Yeah.
of this year,
Yeah,
so
you're right.
we wouldn't have done New Year's.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah, you right.
Sheesh.
But anyway, we decided to theme it
So
for today,
yeah,
friendos. So we're talking about Murder at Everham Hall by who?
by someone.
What is the author's name? we swear we kind of prepare.
By Benedict Brown.
Wow,
What a name.
I feel like that name fits the story
For sure.
so well.
It really
Oh my
does.
goodness, he may as
Yeah.
well be a character.
Come on. Benny?
Yeah, Benny. So we'll get into that. But first, Sarah, how the heckins are you?
Well, I'm pretty good.
You all right?
I'm happy to be here
Yeah.
I'm
I
happy to see
know.
you.
I'm happy to see you.
and actually talk in person. It's
I
so much
know.
better.
I know. What a freaking day.
I know.
Wow.
I don't really have much to say outside of that.
Well, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
No. I don't do that.
No, I feel like it's just cope,
Yeah.
People out here like, I'm going to change my life, but it only lasts for a month.
Or they're like, I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to start till tomorrow. Like, no,
Yeah.
if you want to do something, start now.
Just do it now.
Why are you
God,
waiting?
guys? You don't have to
Jeez.
have a freaking day. You can do
Yeah.
it anytime.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
But how are you, Danielle?
Well, I'm pretty good. I had a kind of long week after having been sick for a while.
Yeah. You
and
were sick for
then-
a solid minute.
Like 2 weeks, brother.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. And of course, my husband and daughter were delayed in the sick, so it just lasted forever.
Yeah.
Felt like. But, I'm all right.
Good.
I'm real sleepy.
Me too.
Yeah. But I started seeing a new life coach lady, which has been interesting.
Okay.
So that's a good positive plus.
Good.
Mental health matters, friends.
Yes, it does.
And, gotta work on that shit.
Yeah.
And it's an entirely different vibe than what I normally have done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm digging it. It's
Well,
very
good.
whoop-de.
Oh.
Hippy-dippy.
Very whoop-de.
Whoop-de, like shamanism vibes. And I like that,
Yeah.
Take me to a different avenue of thinking, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's fun.
Well, good.
Yeah. So maybe for my new year is continuing my self-work journey, guys. As you all should.
All right, but don't quit in a month, okay?
I don't plan on it.
Okay.
I want to keep it up.
Good.
I feel like it's always needed,
Yeah.
every season
For
of
sure.
life.
Things,
gotta change.
Life is always, changing, and we are always changing, and
And it never fucking
sometimes
slows down.
it's hard to cope with that.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts on facts. It
Yeah.
never slows down, so. Anyway, off my soapbox.
Wow.
Should we talk about this freaking book?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's talk about this story that Sir Benedict has curated. I want to say off the bat that this was fun.
It was. It's such a different vibe from anything I've ever read.
Yes.
And I really liked it.
It very much gave freaking Clue.
Yeah.
Like the board game.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess movie.
Yeah.
There's been multiple. That vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was here for it.
Yeah, it was very much like a dinner party whodunit
In the 1920s.
in the 1920s.
with like 1920s language.
Yeah, and I feel like because of that, I felt like I was in it a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
it was very immersive.
We were part of the dinner party.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this story, guys, follows a good guy, a good fella named Marius,
Yeah.
who is an author.
Mm-hmm. Who writes murder mysteries.
Yeah, or has written one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's working on his second one.
Yeah, but can't get it off the
he's
ground.
got writer's block.
Yeah, oh, bit hardcore.
Oh, bit
hardcore.
hardcore.
It's real bad. So much so that he like has a meeting with his editor and he's like, here it is, bud, and talks about like one chapter. And the editor's like, okay, what else you got, bud? He's like, well, that's the whole story.
Well, that's it.
And the editor's like, nope. No, it's not. And asks for money, the author does, Marius, and because he spent all his royalties from the first book.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, well, write a chapter and you can have some money, bud.
Yeah, for every chapter you write, I'll give you $100, bud.
Yeah, bud. And he's feeling really down and out and like, woe is me, Marius is. And leaves this meeting with his editor and like trips and just lays on the pavement.
Just lays there
Like,
looking up at the sky.
Life is hard.
People are just walking over him like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And this is set in London. Which is also a fun vibe.
Yeah.
I like the scene that has been set.
Yes.
And
the like language too.
Yeah.
Not only was it 1920s, but also British.
I know.
Oh,
British
come on.
1920s. Come on. And while he's laying there wallowing, a woman from his past approaches and is like, Marius, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's Bella.
Lady Bella Montague.
Yeah. Isabella. And she is royalty. Her dad's a duke.
I guess.
And they were in love when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
And have this sordid backstory
of,
we're led to believe. I'm just going to spoil their backstory.
Okay.
We're led to believe through a lot of it that he planned to propose to her and she turned him down. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
He decided not to propose.
He had it all set up to propose to her and then was like, I can't do that to her because he's going to war.
Yeah. He didn't want to leave her high and dry by being murdered.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a bummer.
Oh, shoot dang.
So instead he broke her heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's their backstory.
Better to break someone's heart alive than dead.
I guess. Is it? He made it out of the war alive, though, you know?
Yeah, but...
Had he done it, they would have been happily ever after.
Yeah, they would have.
After he went to war.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, she's like, what's up? How you doing?
You okay, bud? What are you doing on the ground?
And is like, he keeps putting on this air of like, I'm a really cool author and I'm really successful and everything's good. And she's like, oh, that's so great. And like, also, you want to hang out?
You want to come to a New Year's Eve party?
Oh my gosh.
At this big estate?
Yeah. Of this movie star that I happen to know.
Famous
guy.
Maybe he could turn your book into a movie.
Yeah, maybe. And Marius like lives with his mom and his uncle and
like his whole family.
A bunch of family live in
there's
this
like
house.
20 of them.
That he spent all of his money. I think there's 3 other besides him, but yeah, 20. And and he spent all his money on this house that they all live in, and they're all like nosy as hell and fucking, all up his ass about it.
Mm-hmm.
But he does end up going.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the rest is important, so.
Okay. Yeah.
I just meant the in between.
Yeah.
He goes to this house for Cecil Sinclair.
Thank you. I could not remember his name.
And he is this movie star who's hosting this party. And he like bought an old ass house.
Yeah.
That's mansion.
Yeah.
And dilapidated except for the parts that he's renovated.
He didn't buy it. He inherited it.
That's right.
From his old dead wife.
Hortensia.
Yeah.
Who he married, and they both had the understanding that like it was just a fun couple years, but then he'd get all her money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he married her. She's like an old widow.
He didn't inherit the house from her. He inherited money and he bought the house with said money.
Oh, okay.
Because.
Oh, yeah, because he swindled this other family out of their mansion.
Yeah. this
For
other family
pennies.
lost all their money, and he like really freaking took one over on him. What is it? Pulled one over on him. Took it over.
Took one over.
And took it out from under him.
You just really want to say that he took something, don't
He's
you?
taking it all. Yeah. And he has this house now.
Yeah.
And he is like relatively famous. He's like been in a lot of films.
Yeah, he's a fucking movie star.
And then after
friggin' Marius's family wanted him to like get autographs.
That's true.
His mom's obsessed with him.
Yeah. And after he got all this money from Hortensia, he freaking was able to like produce his own films and stuff. So he's like big ball and energy.
Yeah.
So Marius gets to this freaking manor and is greeted by butlers and shit. Mm-hmm. And he feels all sorts of out of place. He also brought his dog with him. Before he leaves, the uncle's like, "Oh, and take the dog." Like, what? I was so confused.
And why is the dog... I feel like the dog is like such a weird focal point throughout the book.
know.
But I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You're just talking about your mopey dog. I don't... What's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. Why? But the dog is with him.
Yeah.
He gets shown to his room, and then he's like, well, I guess I better go find the rest of the people. Mm-hmm. And as he said it that way, 2 other guests arrive. Freaking Anton and Alma.
Yeah.
And they're all like, you know, proper and seemingly
Hoity-toity.
rich. And like, they know the lay of the land of this weird manor. And lead him on to the place that he's supposed to be going. And Alma seems like nice and considerate. Mm-hmm. Anton seems very arrogant. Uh-huh. And he finds out that Anton is a movie director and Alma is an actress. Mm-hmm. And they work really closely with Cecil because Anton is his director. Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. That's how they know this Cecil man. Yeah. Then they get to this room. Bella's there. Mm-hmm. Some other guy named Carl.
Yeah, what the fuck, Carl?
Carl Wilson. Mm-hmm. And freaking Bella's boyfriend. What's his name?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
It's something silly.
I don't know.
Fucking
that guy.
I really want to say Gilbert, but I know that's not right.
It might be close, honestly. Is it Gilbert?
Is it? I'm going to go with it.
Sure, he can be Gilbert.
I feel like it's not right.
I don't know. But anyway, Bella's boyfriend. I feel like we should probably know his name, but whatever. I don't know.
It's going to drive me insane. Yeah. I'm going to call him Gilbert.
All right. And then there's Poppy, who is Cecil's girlfriend.
Yes.
And then... finally, the other guest is Ross, which is Cecil's dad.
Cecil's dad and
his lady.
Whatever her name is.
Edith, I think.
Edith.
You're who right. is like 20 years old. And Pops is, you know, well.
Like 70.
Well above 20.
Yeah.
And that is the entire party.
Yeah.
Like it's very small.
Yeah.
And Marius is like, wow, it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And they're all like weird and pretentious and have their own vibe about them. Mm-hmm. But then Cecil shows up. Yeah. And he is an entire vibe.
Yeah, he is.
He's all fucked up.
And when he shows up, friggin' Bella's boyfriend is on the phone with someone.
Yeah.
And Cecil starts yelling at him about something.
Yeah.
He's like, get off the phone, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. This is a party.
We can't be doing phone calls right
now.
Yeah. We need to get really drunk. And also, Cecil presumably took a bunch of drugs, too. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just all fucked up.
A whole different vibe.
And Anton and Alma are pissed. Mm-hmm. Bella's pissed because he said he wasn't going to be drinking or anything.
Wasty poo.
That night.
Yeah.
But he comes and he's all making a fool of himself. And as they're chatting and doing their thing, he like makes an offhand comment to Carl Wilson for looking at him and is like being kind of a prick to everybody.
Yeah.
And then suddenly like passes out.
His face plants.
Hits the ground. He's out. And everyone's like, what the? Okay.
Freaking Cecil.
This guy. Idiot.
God.
And his dad, Ross, and Bella's boyfriend.
Gilbert.
What is his name? It's going to drive me crazy.
I could look if you really want to know.
That's all right. I don't really care. They take him up to bed. Cecil, they take him up to bed, leave him there. come back down to join the party.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone disperses because dinner isn't until 9.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is.
It's like probably 7.
Maybe. Yeah, sure, we can say that.
Yeah.
And they all go their own ways, but Bella and Marius end up like chatting for a while.
Yeah.
And they're just chatting. Probably about their history or some shit.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Who knows? Like, wow, it's good to see you. It's kind of awkward.
Miss you.
And he's like,
I love you,
you
baby.
have a boyfriend? You didn't fucking tell me? Why else? Like, why would I be
Oh,
here?
yeah, I think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all
like,
pissed.
I only came here for you because I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you didn't tell me you have a boyfriend.
Yeah, what the hell? You just freaking, why would you invite me?
And why him? That guy's a prick.
He's a
freaking
wiener.
Gilbert.
Hate that guy. It might be Gilbert.
I have to look. It's going to drive me insane. It's freaking Gilbert.
Ah, you were right.
I was right.
Without even knowing.
I know.
Well, fucking Gilbert.
Yeah.
This guy. So anyway, Bella and Marius are beefing about Gilbert when all of a sudden they hear pop, pop, pop.
Pow, pow, pow. Before this, by the way, there were fireworks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, New Year's.
Yeah, but it's like early for fireworks. But, I mean,
but
that
people
happens.
are lighting them off.
Yeah.
It happens all for days. Yeah.
Literally, weeks.
And so they're like, was that fireworks? It didn't sound like fireworks. Like, that was something different, says Marius.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we gotta go investigate. What the heck? And go up searching where the sound came from. Yeah. Only to end up in Cecil's tower.
Mm-hmm.
And they find him murdered. Not on New Year's Eve.
Oh, come on.
Rude as hell.
Shot 3 times in the head.
Come on.
Rude.
Damn.
Savage.
And they're like, oh my God. And of course, Bella's all shook because Cecil's her friend.
Yeah.
And Marius is like, what? Oh my God. And they're
wow.
freaking out.
Holy cow.
And immediately are like, what the heck? Like, this just happened. The person must be here somewhere.
They've got to be. They couldn't have made it that far.
Yeah. And then they lock up the tower, assuming they've locked up the murderer in there somehow. Like, they've hidden in a place and they're okay. Yeah. And they run down.
First of all.
Yeah.
Are they're in the tower still?
Yeah.
Because they're like searching, right?
Yeah.
Why would you lock yourself up with a murderer?
Well, I think they lock it as they're leaving. They lock it up.
So they're not still in there?
No, because then
you said yeah.
Oh. Well, they were. But as they're leaving, they like lock the tower in hopes that they've trapped the murderer.
Okay. While they go, alert all the other people?
Yeah, they like run downstairs and call a meeting.
Yeah. Attention!
And everyone's like, I didn't think dinner was till 9. What the heck?
Everyone's just pissed.
What the heck? And they're like, guys, Cecil's been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Marius also mentions at this point that there's one... Oh, wait. Maybe this is later.
What?
One of the people hasn't changed their clothes yet, but that's later when it's actually dinner time.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's now.
I don't know. Who knows?
He's like, these rich people really take stock in, like, changing an outfit every chance. An outfit every chance. Every chance they get. My goodness.
Yeah. But
and this lady didn't.
Freaking Edith.
Yeah.
Ross's little 20-some.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's like, what? And Marius and Bella are like, yeah, and they must be here with us. Mm-hmm. And like, we gotta plot this whole investigation. And they have this collective conversation about how Marius is obviously the most qualified because he wrote a murder mystery.
Clearly. Yeah. He's clearly really good at solving mysteries.
Yeah.
Because he writes them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Totally logical.
Yeah. And he decides to start interviewing everybody individually.
I love that he just goes with it. He's like, yeah, I probably am.
Right,
you're right.
Sure.
I'll give it a shot.
So much of this book, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. Also, they do call the police. They're not just like, let's solve it on our own.
Yeah,
but it's blizzarding outside.
It's like hella snowy. But
and the cops are like, oh, well, we can't come because there's everyone's off for the holiday.
There's not
Police
a chance.
don't take off for the holiday.
There's
That's
not
like,
a chance.
No.
And there's not a chance they'd be like, oh, it's snowing. We can't.
Someone was murdered. No
we
big
can't
deal.
Come. Sorry about it.
Sorry.
And the murderer's probably on premise. Well, I mean, you'll be fine.
How many of you are there? You'll be fine.
There's no chance. It's so silly.
I mean, maybe that's how it was in the 1920s.
I guess maybe. That's true. I didn't think about that. But still,
yeah.
I feel like
it's
throughout this
silly.
entire book, it's poking fun at itself, which I like kind of appreciate.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, cops aren't coming. Marius is the only one who can solve it.
Uh-huh.
And he first interviews Cecil's dad, Ross.
Yeah. Because he knows there's beef.
Mm-hmm. And we find out that Cecil was pissed that his dad's with a 20-year-old and didn't want to meet her because they got engaged and he didn't want to meet his new 20-year-old stepmom.
Yeah.
And there was all this beef and fucking Ross is like, you know, gonna bring her, but then Cecil's like, if you bring her around or get married, then I'm taking you out of my will.
Yeah.
And so Marius is like, ooh, motive.
Suspicious.
He's gonna be written out of the will.
Yeah.
He must have killed his own son, maybe. But Ross also gets emotional, and then Marius is like, oh, like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't that.
Yeah.
I feel like Marius is the most unreliable freaking interviewer because
For sure, he's like too empathetic.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, they seem
too
really
much
great.
compassion, bud.
And so after his initial interview with Ross, he comes back and talks to Bella, and he's like, you have to help me. Like,
you know these people, and I don't, so maybe you'll have some good insight.
That, and like, you can talk to them better than I can.
Yeah.
And I think she agrees to help him, and then they move on to talk to Poppy, who is Cecil's girlfriend, and she's like, it could have been me, and like acting distraught and kind of annoying as hell.
Yeah, I hate her. She's also snuggling with Marius's dog for comfort,
sobbing over this dog, acting all distraught about this person that she's been with for a few months. Yeah, like, I mean, yes, the death is terrible. But
it's horrible. Like, but
I was so in love with him, and it could have been me.
Yeah.
Oh God. And she was the only one who couldn't like explain where she was when all of this went down too.
Yeah.
And she tells them like, I got lost. It was embarrassing. I didn't want to tell anybody
that
I got lost in this manner.
First of all, if you're dating this guy and you're so incredibly in love with him, wouldn't you know like the layout of his house? I feel like. I mean, yes, it's a mansion, but still,
wouldn't you have been with him?
Right.
I guess he was passed out, so maybe not. But like caring for him, perhaps.
Yeah. I
don't know. But Poppy is like abrasive and says a lot of weird shit, and like just they get a weird vibe from her, but they also aren't completely sold that she had anything to do with it at this point. They're like, I you know, she's weird as hell and saying some weird shit, but like I don't know. There was some history where Cecil was in competition with this other actor named Alec Pemberton. And Poppy used to date Alec. Yeah. Until Cecil got more famous.
Yeah.
And
so
they're
now like, Marius is like, oh, she's still in love with Alec Pemberton, and he set her up to this. Put her up to this. And she's murdering him so that Alec can be more. She's murdering. She's actively murdering him. She murdered him. She murdered him so that Alec can get more famous.
Yeah. This whole thing is outlandish, but I had fun with it. Yeah, so that's what they like are formulating for a motive for Poppy.
Yeah,
as that interview ends, and then they decide to go to bed. All of them.
Marius is like, I'm sleepy.
Let's all go to bed.
Yeah.
After like having had dinner, but Marius like didn't get all of his dinner. He was all pissy about that.
Yeah, because he had to interview people.
Yeah, only Ross. And then after that, it was Poppy. And then they're like, well,
it's bedtime.
Let's call it. And I think during the dinner, like, it becomes midnight, and all of them are mildly worried that the murderer is just going to strike at midnight and, like, take one of them out at the table.
In front of everybody.
Yeah, but nothing else happens, so they call it quits.
Yeah.
Which was so funny to me. And then they make it upstairs, and Ross and Edith are about to go into the room, and Ross is like, I'll be right back, honey. I'm going to get my glasses
I
out
forgot
of the
my
car.
glasses. You know I can't fall asleep unless I read. Same, bro.
I get it, buddy. And so Marius is like, oh, good chance to talk to Edith.
Yeah.
And, like, pulls Bella in there with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they start chatting with her, and she ends up talking about how, you know, Ross was upset when Cecil did not want to meet her, and how she was, like, kind of hurt by it. And they're talking about how they did have a big dinner with the rest of Ross's sons or whatever.
Yeah.
But none of her family came.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't glean much else from
No.
her. And they, like, don't have any suspicion around her. She seems, like, really harmless to them. But as they're chatting, Edith, like, walks up to the window next to Bella.
Not suspicious at all.
I know. And they're like, whoa, look at that.
Do you see that?
Oh, my God.
There's a man with a knife.
in a cloak walking out in the snow.
Oh, my goodness.
Towards the manor.
Oh, my goodness.
And Marius and Bella are like, oh, God, go! And they start
Run,
running to go chase this murderer. She's like, I'm going to go this way. Follow the tracks of the supposed murderer.
Yeah.
And he obviously went into this dilapidated side of the house. Oh, they also talked to Gilbert earlier. I forgot about that.
And Poppy.
Well, we talked about Poppy.
Oh, did we? I'm here, I promise.
They talked to Gilbert outside.
Yeah.
And Gilbert told them that he's Cecil's accountant.
Yes.
And also Bella's boyfriend, if we didn't already drive that home.
Right.
And
his name is Gilbert.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Facts.
So Gilbert.
And Gilbert is, like, acting all aloof and weird and annoying. I hate Gilbert.
I hate him, too.
So does Marius. He's like this fucking fool. And he tells them that, like, you know, he's worked for Cecil for a long time and that they got into an argument recently because some money
went missing
and still hadn't ended up in Cecil's account.
Uh-huh.
And there's some drama.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, it was nothing to do with me. It was all a
I
computer
didn't do
error.
it.
I didn't do anything. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And Bella's all like, oh, honey, yeah, of course not. Like,
I believe you.
yeah,
I love
totally.
you. You didn't tell me about any of this, and that's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, no big deal. And Marius is not sold and hates the guy.
Yeah.
But that's all they get from him at that point.
Yeah.
So anyway, flash forward again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, mask guy. Go, let's find him. So they split off.
Bad
they don't
idea.
go together to try to track this murderer down.
Yeah.
In a dark, dilapidated part of the house that hasn't been renovated.
Yeah.
And
Bella comes
comes
across Ross, right? Or is she the one who finds the other one? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
She comes across Ross.
I thought so, yeah. Ross is like half in, half out of his car, knocked out.
Yeah.
With a big old bump on his head.
Yeah. Maybe they find him later, actually. I think she meets him in the house. Okay. Marius comes to this dark corner and hears noises behind a piano. And Bella comes in and is like, what are you doing here? And they go around the piano. He also picked up a freaking, like, butler on the way. And he's like, get a weapon. We're going.
Oh, yeah. It's,
Matthew or something.
Yeah, something like that.
We're going to go find the murderer.
Obsessed with Marius because of his book.
Is he?
Is that the guy?
No, that's Carl.
You're right.
But anyway, Matthew's like, yeah, and feels all
we're going to get him
secure because freaking Marius took a sword off a wall. We also failed to mention, Sarah, that all around this house, there's this insignia for Cornwallis.
Yes.
And there was a gun next to Cecil that had the Cornwallis insignia.
Yeah. But why would they have a gun just laying around that's loaded with bullets already?
Yeah. And Marius checked the armory, and, like, all of the guns were not loaded, and there was not ammo next to them.
Yeah.
And also next to Cecil's body was a picture of his late wife, Hortensia.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all we got from that.
Yeah.
But anyway, while they're like, what's that noise? They
Noise
sneak
behind the
around
piano.
It's Poppy.
It's friggin' Poppy.
With a friggin' knife in her shoulder.
She been stabbed.
Real good. She's like, I'm stabbed, the pain, and then passes out.
Yeah.
And they bring her up to a room, and Bella's like, don't remove the knife. I know how to care for wounds. I'll stay with her.
The knife is stopping the blood.
Yeah. And then as Marius is just gonna go up to his room to go to bed. He's stopped by Edith saying, "Where the heck's Ross? Have you seen him?"
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And then they run outside and he's knocked down his car.
Yeah.
They bring him inside, leave him with Bella and Poppy.
Yeah.
Edith stays.
Yeah.
And then Marius is like, "I'm gonna go to sleep."
I'm tired. And he goes into his room and then remembers his dog.
Who was in Poppy's room.
Who's in Poppy's room.
Because she took him.
Yeah.
What?
And when he goes to get the dog, Poppy's room is real cold.
Yeah. And she had said, no, this is later. Anyway, he goes to sleep, which I'm like, how are you trying to sleep after one, Cecil's been murdered, and then Poppy was stabbed,
and Ross was knocked out.
I would
not be able to sleep even after just one of those things.
No, especially because you never caught sight of the person again. Just sneaking around.
Where's this creepy dark figure with a knife?
I was literally like, what? There's not a chance that any of these people are sleeping.
No.
The fuck? But it's funny. It's silly.
God.
What?
I even laugh at, like, Ross is like, I need to go get my glasses so I can read before I go to sleep. I would not be able to read. No. Dude, this is stressful.
Like, one of my friends might be a murderer, but I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Clearly it was just a one-targeted plan.
My son's dead, but I got to read.
Oh, it's all so silly. It's all so silly. But anywho,
yeah,
Marius has a good night's sleep.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't wake up till morning.
Nope.
And he's
got
feeling
his
refreshed.
pup cuddling with him.
Yep. And he gets out of bed and goes and checks on the infirmary victims. And they're all sleeping still.
Yeah.
So he goes to the kitchen or whatever, and Alma's there. And he's like, wow, I haven't talked to her yet.
Yeah.
Starts chatting with her. Oh, Gilbert in his interview also said that Cecil
and Alma
kissed or something.
And so there's drama.
Yeah, with Anton and Alma.
Mm-hmm.
And he's chatting to Alma. And
Anton, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
That's okay.
Anton and Alma have been, like, weird towards each other,
yeah,
too.
They've been acting all sorts
They can't
of
even
strange.
look at each other.
Yeah.
So.
All of this. Drama. But he's chatting with Alma, and she's, like, talking about how her and Cecil were on a lot of films together, and he's always been kind of a pain in the ass, like, to film with because he's unreliable and doing drugs and drinking and all of these things.
Yeah.
Especially because Anton is, like, his director and trying to keep him in line.
Yeah.
And they have this, like, twisted history.
Yeah.
But they also rely a lot on Cecil for the money
Mm-hmm.
that he makes from the films that they shoot.
Right. Because he's so popular.
Yeah.
Popular.
And Anton has been recently, like, really frustrated with him. And Cecil said he'd be sober and he wasn't. So there's, like, drama, whatever.
Yeah.
Anton then comes in and he's like, yeah, I've been a dick. And he sits down. And they unfurl this story about how Cecil and Alma had an on-screen kiss.
Yeah.
That made Anton real upset.
Yeah.
Like, he started going through this whole...
He's, like, spiraling.
Yeah, he's like, they must be in love in real life. After watching it 50 times. He creates this whole story in his mind about how they must be fucking.
Yeah.
And Alma's like, honey. And they have this, like, weird reconciliation.
They have a really awkward for Marius encounter where they're, like, holding each other and caressing each other.
And Anton's like, I didn't realize till now how silly I was being. And they're like, yes, baby, it's okay. And having this weird fucking moment.
Yeah.
And Marius all the while is like,
so
I'm gonna go. But he is thinking that, like, perhaps Alma and he doesn't really think they might have anything to do with it, but he's like, maybe because of all the drama and stuff, it could be something.
Yeah. He's like, maybe Alma killed Cecil.
Yeah.
To, really show the other guy, Anton, that she loves him.
To make it up to him.
Or
Prove
maybe
to him that she's not cheating.
Anton killed Cecil
him
because he was so jealous.
Convinced that they were having
in
an
a
affair.
rage.
And yeah, after he has this conversation, he goes back. Bella's awake. Poppy's awake.
Ross is gone.
Is gone with Edith.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, he was fine enough. He left. And Poppy's like, I have to tell you everything that happened. And he's like, all right. Why'd you wait for me? And she basically is like, well, I was having a smoke in this weird dilapidated part of the house.
Yeah.
And then he just stabbed me. He was masked. I didn't see him.
I couldn't see him.
And they're like, why the fuck were you out there smoke? There's an entire smoking room.
There's a whole room dedicated to that, you idiot.
She's
And
like,
he's
well,
like, well, you know, he was that close enough to stab you and you really couldn't see his face. And she's like, the moonlight.
you saw the angle? You saw how dark it was? And they're like, you're not telling us the entire truth. Like, what else is there? And she's like, well, I got a note.
Yeah.
That said that they're going to tell all my secrets.
If I don't meet them in the, whatever this room's called.
In this place at this
conservatory.
And they're like, why would you do that after somebody just been killed? And what's your secret? And she's like,
can I see the note?
Yeah.
And she's like, I burned it in my room.
I burned it up.
I burned it.
It's gone. And I don't know what the secret is, but I'm sure there is one.
So silly.
They still suspect Poppy after all that.
Obviously.
She's acting weird as fuck.
She's sus as hell.
Super flighty and strange.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's another conversation that makes Marius really want to talk to Gilbert. Maybe they go to the library, him and Bella, and are like talking through all the possibilities. And Carl happens to be in there. Like, they don't know he's there. And suddenly he's like...
Yeah, until they say something and he's like, I should have told you I was here.
Yeah, and they ask him a little bit about, like, what are you doing here? Have you ever met Cecil before now? And he's like, no, haven't met any of these people. I came because
I
Gilbert
work with
invited
Gilbert.
me because I work with him. And
yeah, I'm like an apprentice under him.
Yeah, and they ask him about his work with him, and he talks a little bit about the money having gone missing and how
he's the one that found it.
Yeah, and Gilbert showed him Cecil's file, and he's like their most important client. And they're like, that's suspicious. Why would he be showing his apprentice Cecil's file? And like, what's that all about? And so Marius gets a stick up his ass to go talk to Gilbert. And they go find him, and Gilbert's like, well, I was just trying to help the guy out, like get him good footing, and you know, he's gonna do this job one day. And they're like, well, why'd you invite him? And he's like, no, he was begging to come. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
And all of this shit. And then he is like, oh, and you know, Cecil changed his will like the other day.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Like, he didn't think to mention this the first time. And they're like, what? Like, why didn't you say anything, you idiot? And they want to know where the copy is. And he's like, well, I don't know. There's not one in my office, because he has an office in this manor.
Yeah, he's got a financial office.
Yeah.
I
to
guess.
do financial stuff. And
taxes.
they're like, where could it
stuff.
be? And Gilbert's like, I don't know. Maybe in, you know, his tower.
Yeah, it's got to be in his tower somewhere.
They're like scouring all these rooms and finally go up back to where Cecil is still laying.
Yeah, like, ew.
But before that,
Yeah.
as they're frantically running to go find this will,
Okay.
a doctor comes to help Poppy.
Oh, yeah.
And a detective comes
Oh,
finally.
Yeah.
Somebody that like lived close by and drove to the end of the drive and walked through the snow to get there.
Yeah.
And the detective's like, what are you guys doing?
I feel like also they like, after they tell him what's going on, he's like, well, it seems like you guys like have this under control. I'll just follow along. He's like, you do your thing, buds.
I'm just here. Don't worry about it. And he follows them up to Cecil's room. And he's like, guys, before you keep touching shit, can you please put gloves on? Like, it's a crime scene.
That's so silly. He's like, I always make sure I have a pair of spares.
Spare pairs?
Spare pairs. Oh, my goodness.
So they glove up and ransack Cecil's room. And finally, Marius has the idea that it's hidden behind a painting.
It's a, like, movie poster.
Yeah, of, like, one of his first movie posters. And
sure enough,
they pull it down, and there's, like, an envelope stuck to it and a few other things. Passport, whatever. And in the envelope's the will. Wow. And it was dated not too long before that. Yeah. And he had signed over all of his estate to one Penelope Alcott. Which was Hortensia, his late wife's daughter. And they're like, who the heck is Penelope? Whoa.
Whoa.
When they started doing that, I was like, guys.
I'm like, hello? Are you really that dense?
But then Marius is like, I've got it. And like has this conversation that's not on paper.
Yeah.
With the detective.
Uh-huh.
And the detective's like, yeah, that makes sense, man. Like, you run the show.
Yeah.
You can present it to everybody here. And he's like, you better grab some handcuffs out of your car.
Yeah, let me show up to a murder scene and leave my handcuffs in the car.
Yeah, go get your handcuffs and try to bring your car up closer to the house.
I feel like, too, like, after they have this conversation, the detective is like, oh, shoot. I just realized my handcuffs are in my car.
Oh.
Yes. Silly.
So silly. And so when the cops finally back,
Yeah.
they gather everyone up again.
Mm-hmm.
And Marius is like, all right, guys.
I know who the killer is.
It's Poppy!
Wow,
And
never
lays-
saw that coming.
Lays out this whole story about how she was pissed that he got her mother's entire estate
Mm-hmm.
and convinced him to write her into his will.
Uh-huh.
And although they didn't think that Cecil knew that she was Penelope
No,
Alcott,
she's like
they said
being...
that Poppy told Cecil that the only way he would get over his
guilt
for Hortensia's estranged daughter
Mm-hmm.
was to write her into his will.
Yeah.
And then she is Penelope Alcott, so it was all a big ploy.
So once it was
to get
done,
all
she
his
said,
money.
bang, bang, shoot, shoot.
And they were like, she must have stabbed herself because it was in a place that wouldn't have hurt anything seriously.
Yeah.
And like had this whole thing. And Poppy's like, you've got the wrong person. Like, yeah, I'm her daughter and whatever. And I wanted the money, but I didn't kill him.
didn't kill him.
So you got the wrong person.
But the detective puts cuffs on her.
Yeah.
Puts her in the car.
And they're all like chatting about it at the end. They're like, yeah, great job, man. Like, what did you think about me? Like, what did you think my motives were? Like, everyone's
Yeah.
asking, like, why would I have done it?
Yeah.
And Carl Wilson, the one who's been obsessed and kind of quiet, and he's an
Mhm.
outsider too, is like asking because he's a big murder mystery buff,
Yeah.
and asking Marius all about his process and like
Mhm.
if he thought Carl had anything to do with it. And they're like, nah, man, like nothing big there.
You're just a little weenie. We never suspected you at all.
Yeah. And Carl's like, well, great job, man, you know? And they're all starting to like part ways.
Yeah, everyone's getting in their cars.
Yeah. And
The
Carl,
snow's just like gone.
yeah, no big deal. It's time to leave.
There was a blizzard so bad that the cops couldn't come, but everyone can leave now.
Yeah, no big deal. And then as Marius is standing there, he's like, Carl Wilson. Cornwallis. It's an anagram.
We got the wrong person.
What? Reminder being that Cornwallis is the family that got dicked over by fucking Cecil.
Yeah.
And Marius is like, stop that man!
Yeah.
As he's
And
in
Ross
his car.
jumps in front of his
front.
car and almost gets run over, but like dives out of the way at the last second.
So Marius hops in his fancy car that he spent all his money on and chases him down. Like, bumps him off the side of the road,
Into a
drags
ditch.
him out of his car, chucks him into his passenger seat, rides back up, and he's like, cuff him. And then he goes on this big old spiel about how Carl Wilson is an anagram for Cornwallis.
For Cornwallis.
And as he's laying it out, Carl's like, yeah, man. They betrayed
I would
my
have got away
family.
with it, too.
Oh, shoot. And then he's like, but there was one more. The other outsider, Edith, is also a Cornwallis.
Yeah.
And it turns out that that's Carl's cousin.
Yeah.
And that they planned all of this shit, like
Mhm.
weaseled their way into different parts of Cecil's life.
Yeah.
Between his dad and his accountant.
Mm-hmm.
And found a way to get through to then kill him off.
Yeah.
Because he took their family's money.
What I don't understand is that, you know, they had it all set up so Edith
Whoa.
Edith is the one who shot Cecil.
Yeah. Carl was like in a room next to where Bella and Marius were.
Yes.
Like there was no way for him to have done it.
Yes.
So Edith did it.
Still, how did she get away? Oh, there was like a door that was unlocked and it was locked the night before.
Well,
or something.
They assumed that she like hid in the wardrobe when they went inside, and
but they looked in the wardrobe.
Well, it was like before they got to Cecil's room, the wardrobe was in like a front room or something, and so she must have hidden there while they were looking at Cecil.
Okay.
Gotten out, and then she couldn't have stabbed Poppy, so like it was convenient that there was one of them in place at all times.
Yeah.
And so this door that was unlocked they must have had a key or something because it was their house, their grandparents' house. I don't know. But it was fucking Carl and Edith, guys.
Frickin' Carl and Edith.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And Poppy's like, I told you so.
Idiots.
And kicks Marius in the shins like 4 times.
Yeah. 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 And they drag Edith and Carl off. And then Bella and Marius are like, well, this was fun. We should solve more things.
Yeah.
Let's be sleuthers and freaking solve crime. And the detective's like, oh, as a cop, like, I'm not supposed to condone that behavior, but you guys did really good.
Call me when you go on your next adventure. I want to come. And
then there's 2 more books, guys. And
yeah.
it is The Adventures of Marius and fucking Bella.
And Bella. I already borrowed the next one on Kindle Unlimited because I kind of want to read it.
Yeah, maybe we should. Guys, it was absolutely ridiculous.
It was so ridiculous, but it was so fun.
It was fun. It was such a cute little pick.
Yeah. What did you rate it, Danielle?
I gave it a 3.5 star.
Okay.
What did you rate it?
I also gave it a 3.5 star, but like a high 3.5.
Yeah. Like a rounded up, probably.
Yeah, I rounded up for sure.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell me things?
You can go first.
All right.
Again, I don't really care. I don't have a ton to say.
Well, I gave it 3.5. I feel like it was very outlandish and silly.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the charm of it, though. So maybe it deserves more. I don't know. I just felt like I loved that it picked on itself the whole time. I loved the vibe of it being a 1920s whodunit dinner party clue mystery, like candlestick in the parlor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was fun. I felt like the characters were all just entirely unbelievable. And it just was extra in every way, which made it fun and also just so silly. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not like a true murder mystery, you know what I mean? It felt more like a freaking, I don't know, joke.
A board game.
It was a fun read. I enjoyed my experience.
Yeah.
I just also like found myself rolling my eyes and like cackling all at the same time. So it was a very confusing experience, honestly. But the writing was pretty good for what it was. I felt like it fit the bill and also did the genre, whatever this is, justice. Clue genre. And I don't know, it was fun.
I feel like it's like murder mystery genre. It's not a thriller.
Yeah.
It's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
It's like a fun
it's cute.
Dinner party game.
Yeah. I don't know, I liked it for the most part. It's not like a super great book. You know? Like, enjoyed my experience, but I'm not like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what else, Sarah?
I mean, I feel like you pretty much covered it. I do feel like the writing was very fun. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, I feel like it was very immersive. Like, he used the language well.
Yeah.
I felt like there wasn't a second that I forgot that we were in the 1920s. And
That's
also
fair.
in London.
Yes. Both were true the entire time.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily,
No.
because it was so fun.
Yeah.
I liked all of the characters in their own way. Like, they were all made me giggle at one point. Yeah, it was good. It was cute. I liked it.
I did too. It was cute.
And I want to read another one now.
Well, we should. I enjoyed it. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
It was easy reading that was entertaining.
Yeah, I feel like it's different from anything that I've ever read before.
Yeah,
in
same.
a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And also a bad way.
Right. Both are true. But I overall enjoyed my experience. It was a fun little pick.
Yeah.
Glad we snagged that one.
Me too.
What did you guys think of it?
What a fun New Year's.
I know. Happy New Year's. Don't get murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get shot 3 times in
Please.
the face.
All because you stole someone's family manor.
Quit stealing
Don't
manners
do
and
that
you won't
shit,
get killed.
Guys. God, in 1920. Goodness.
Yeah.
What did you think of it, friends? Let us know what your thoughts and ratings are.
Yeah,
We'd
you
love to
have
hear
to
them.
leave your ratings.
My goodness.
I think that I got influenced by you a little bit.
Oh?
I was telling you earlier that I don't look at reviews before I rate something or write my notes out for my reviews because I get influenced by people.
Yeah.
Because I was like teetering on a 4 for this book
Mm-hmm.
because it was so fun. And I saw that you rated it 3.5, and so I did too. You convinced
You
me.
jumped on my wagon.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could deserve a 4. I just am like, it was so silly and, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it was like kind of predictable too, but then I for sure thought it was Poppy the whole time, and
Oh,
so
for
when
sure. When
he thought it was her, I was like, yeah, obviously.
Come on.
So the last twist, I was like, oh shit,
Carla needed relax.
oh shit.
I mean, I was like mildly wondering what the heck was up with Carl.
Yeah, he was a weird.
Yeah.
He was a weird.
A weird. Just thrown in there randomly.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was fun, guys. It was
Mhm.
cute. But you know what? Next week.
Oh my goodness.
Ugh.
I'm so excited.
Me too. We are not. It's not a holiday. Okay.
No.
So we are getting back to hopping around genres like nobody's business.
Yeah, we are.
And it is time once more for an historical fiction.
Yeah, it is.
This one by an author we both really have enjoyed so far.
Kristen Hannah.
Kristen Hannah, guys. We're going to start reading The Nightingale.
Yes, I'm so excited. I've heard
Me
such good things about this
too.
book.
Yes, and we both very, very, very much loved The Women
Ugh, the women
by
was
Kristen
so
Hannah.
good.
It was so fucking good.
Ugh.
Ugh. So we're very excited. We're
Yeah.
fangirling over one book we've read by her,
Yeah.
but we've also heard just great things about every
so
single
many
book
good
of hers.
things. Yeah.
This is another World War II, looking at the women of the war again.
Yes.
And we're reading chapters 1 through 11. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Sick! So chapters 1 through 11 for next week, guys, of The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Do it.
Oh my god. Historical fiction.
Super
World War
excited.
II. So you should do that and read it with us and hear us talk about it. And
Yeah.
chat with us about it in comments and things.
Please.
But you know what, Sarah?
What?
What the heck else are you reading?
Well, Danielle,
Yes.
I finished listening to Aragon this week by Christopher Bellini.
Mm-hmm.
And I rated it 3 stars.
Bummer.
I also finished listening to The Keeper of Hidden Books
Yes.
by Madeline Martin,
Yes.
and I gave it 5 stars.
Yes, you did.
Ugh.
Historical fiction. That what inspired our pick for Kristen Hannah.
Is it?
Well,
Is that what inspired you to say, should we do historical fiction?
Yes, it was.
Okay, cool.
Because I was like, damn, you read one and it was another 5-star because all the historical fictions we've read together and the one you read alone have been 5 stars.
What did you rate the Tattooist of Auschwitz?
I think I gave it a 4.
Okay, it's still pretty good.
It was very good. I really very much enjoyed it.
Great.
For what it was.
Well, Danielle,
Okay.
I also started reading Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller.
Sick.
It's the second book in the Pirate King
Daughter of the Pirate
series.
King. It's the next one after that.
I read a whole 30 pages,
Heck yeah.
I think.
Okay.
That was a guess. And I started listening to Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent, which is the second book in the Daughter of No Worlds trilogy.
That's right.
I only listened to 10%, so.
Okay.
What about
Big
you?
moves. Well, I finished The Guest List by Lucy Foley. And I
Okay.
gave that sucker a 3.5, 4. I gave it a 4.
Yeah, you did.
I forgot I changed my rating. And then I am still reading The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang.
Okay.
I got another like 30 some odd pages through that bish,
Wow.
and it's real good.
Of course.
And then I started listening to The Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling, the 5th Harry Potter book.
Oof.
I'm about 37% of the way through.
Ugh.
And I know how it goes, so
Yeah.
I'm just buckling up for
It's a tough one.
ride. I know. Oh, God. But, I mean, it's Harry Potter. Come on. Yeah, that's how I feel, too. Yeah, what y'all reading?
Yeah.
And if you want to hear more about books that aren't podcast book, then you should go to our YouTube channel. We do little reading check-ins every week where we talk about what we're reading.
Yeah.
And we give book reviews.
And you can leave comments.
Yeah. And tell us about your books that you're reading.
And talk to us.
Yeah, please.
Be our friends.
Yeah. You can find us on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok at Books and Crannies Podcast. We make lots of reviews everywhere.
Yeah.
And other short form content.
Yeah.
And longer form content, obviously. I already said that.
Yeah.
Please engage with us.
Please.
Subscribe, follow, like, comment.
If you're listening on a podcast platform, please, would you please?
Please.
Please.
Please do it.
I'm begging.
Come on.
Please
Come on.
leave us a rating.
Yeah. It would help a lot.
Yeah. And like you could write a cute little review if you wanted. That'd be great.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Good or bad. Tell us if you hate us. That's great.
Yeah, totally.
I don't care.
If you hate us, tell us what we could do differently to make you like us.
Yeah.
So.
Or stop listening. Why are you here?
But instead you could tell us what can we change for you? Please stay.
Please don't go. No, just kidding. If you don't like us, I don't want you here.
No, same.
So.
I'm not changing for you. So
No.
fuck off.
Come on. We're 30.
What does that have to do with anything? Why you gotta call us out like that?
Grown-ass women. Anyway. Don't know
So
what that
there.
was. But next week, reminder, Chris and Hannah, The Nightingale, chapters 1 through 11. Read with us, friends.
Yeah.
And
I'm
have...
really exciting. Exciting for this one.
You are exciting.
So exciting.
And we hope you have a really good week.
Yeah, we do. And we can't wait to see you next one.
Yeah, dogs.
We freaking love you.
We love you. Happy reading.
Happy reading.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye. Happy New Year. Sick.